or that small business might not get $100,000 PPP loan, or call it a $5,000. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whatever they qualified, whatever they needed, they may not get it because you went to bed at 11 o'clock at night,
Yeah,
right?
This season of the SBA Roadshow is sponsored by Ready Capital. I'm Dustin Baker. We're on a mission to build community through shared story. The road is calling. We're gonna do some fun stuff, and you really ought to watch it because it's gonna be amazing. And all the cool kids are doing it. So join me on the SBA Roadshow. We are driving up to Alta ski area to meet with Blake Zumbrunnen, who is the national sales manager at Zion's Commercial Real Estate. It's one of the largest and best known lending programs in the SBA sector for the last couple of decades. Come along with me to meet Blake. Well, we are here in Salt Lake City in the Hotel Monaco wearing masks because it's COVID and we're following the rules.
That's right. Yep.
Blake, tell everybody who you are and kind of what you do and who you do it for.
Yeah. So my name is Blake Zumbrunnen. I've been in the SBA industry for about 2 decades. Work for a regional bank, Zion's Bank. And currently, I am managing a team of business development officers throughout the country. So we have a nationwide SBA platform.
And so we've spent the day today hanging out in kind of an interesting situation where you got to watch me tumble down a mountain. I feel like, and we caught some of that on camera, it's really good TV if you don't know whether the person's going to survive or not.
Right.
And so it's like Bloodsport or like Hunger Games for SBA Roadshow. And so I think people are really going to enjoy watching that.
I agree.
You did.
Yeah, I agree as well. I'm careful to not laugh when people wreck until you know they're okay. So, but since I was mic'd up, you'll probably hear some laughs out of me.
From the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
And some like, he's got a long way to hike back up to get that ski.
Yep.
In knee-deep snow. Yeah. I may have misjudged my skill level at the start of the day, but it was fun.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you kind of earmarking today, which was the cloudy, icy day for skiing versus the sunny, like beautiful Chamber of Commerce day.
Right.
And then also the powder day that you had on Friday. So really appreciate that. Yeah.
No worries, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could help. We could have been on mountain bikes. And that was the initial plan, was to get on mountain bikes, but we had kind of a dust storm today. So
I think we made the right call for sure.
Yeah. Why don't we kind of maybe by the way, all of the questions that I had thought of, the head trauma that I took today, I've forgotten all of them. So this is going to be totally.
This is the best way. This is the best way to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So talk me through. We talked a little bit earlier about kind of how you entered into the SBA lending industry, but it's interesting because you mentioned, you kind of undersold your job. You have a really important job at like an iconic lending program in our industry. You filled some massive shoes a couple of years ago when you stepped into that job. So I think it'd be interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but for people to kind of know how you got your start in the industry and kind of what that progression has looked like for you.
Yeah, so I had a good friend that got a job at the bank, and right out of college, and he was a couple of quarters ahead of me in school. And as soon as I graduated, I interviewed at the bank, and was able to get a position there. Obviously entry level analyst, like grind it out. Which was really good, right? You get into financial statements and really analyze those and kind of understand businesses from a financial standpoint, and understand the numbers maybe even before you understand the industry, right? And when you're in college, you may not even know what the SBA does or is,
Right.
right? And so for me, it was a job that kind of evolved into more of a passion and a love for small businesses.
So the loans that you guys provide, talk a little bit about uh, what that program looks like. A lot of the people we've talked to have been focused more on SBA 7A loans, and you guys' core focus, Zions does those, but your focus in your group is a little bit different. Talk about kind of the distinctions there.
That's right. Yeah. So Zions, and all of the affiliates have a pretty robust 7A program. My group lends nationwide, and we're focused on 504 lending.
Okay.
And so that type of loan is for businesses that have been around, a few years, have an income stream, and have the ability to repay, at a certain ratio, whatever that is, 1.1 or 1.2 times. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about uh, the kind of that void that you guys fill in the market, and kind of how banks benefit from partnering with you guys.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we're a wholesale 504 lender. And what that means is we're working with banks and lenders throughout the country that are getting financing requests that they may not be able to either do those requests for whatever reason, right? Like it's a $5 million deal, and their legal lending limit is 2 million, or the loan is outside of their footprint, or they want to, the borrower is really demanding a long-term fixed rate, that's maybe a little bit lower than the bank wants to go. And so what we do is we partner with them, and we provide the financing and the underwriting and the servicing of that loan. Yeah, exactly.
I want to kind of go back to that growing, building passion for small business lending. I mean, at some point you decide I'm either going to continue this in this vein, or I'm going to do something different. Or a lot of people say I want to expand, I want to learn something new, and you've just kind of drilled down deeper into the place that you entered. What are some of the reasons that you think that passion has grown? What are some of the things that kind of keep you excited about what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, real estate development is super cool, right? I have friends that are in real estate development doing big projects, and 100 apartment units on top of a Whole Foods or whatever, right? Like that stuff is cool, no doubt. For me, when you look at small businesses and how much drive and passion and ambition that comes from those owners, it's pretty amazing to see, right?
Yeah.
And then you sprinkle on a pandemic on top of it, right? And just all of the other issues that small businesses have to deal with. Financing shouldn't be shouldn't be like one of the
Right.
complicated things, right?
Right.
So I really like that.
Yeah. Are there any kind of businesses that you've worked with that you kind of look back over the years and they started here, and then now you see them here? That's like, just, are there those stories that for you think through, and it's like it's just really rewarding to think that you had a piece of the puzzle, a part to play in that?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We don't necessarily bank the
Right.
small business from when we give them a loan to when they're this big. So we don't have maybe the stories that some other small business lenders
Yeah.
would have. But we get to look at them on the front end, right? And see what's driving this business, right? What are their struggles? Is this loan request really going to help them, or is it going to be hard on them, right? So, no, yeah. I mean, I think as far as that goes, there are a ton of cool businesses that we lend to.
Yeah.
From macaroon business, companies that make macaroons, to vets, to all kinds of different things.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Did your team or did you at all have to participate in the whole PPP effort? I feel like everybody in banking had to do something. Like, what did
yeah.
that look like for you guys' team?
Yeah, so what we did is we focused on current borrowers, and we
Existing bank customers,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So we offered, to help those businesses get a PPP loan on the first draw and the second draw if they wanted. The bank was top 9 in the country on draw 1, and I think they're still top 10 for draw 2. So the bank really went hard. Our group, because we were learning systems that we'd never worked with before.
Yeah.
There were a lot of nights until midnight. Just back to back. There's weeks where, well, I can think of one week in particular. I didn't eat at the dinner table once. So it was just at my desk, and I was sprinting to the bathroom, from one conference call back to my desk to another conference call. So it was pretty wild. Yeah.
I placed someone one time and she said, my work is so busy, I don't even have time to pee during the day.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a problem. You
Yeah.
should take at least 5 minutes and do that.
That is a problem.
You know?
Yeah. But the stopwatch was on, right? And you
Yeah,
didn't
that's right.
you didn't know when it was going to end. So you knew you had to go as fast as you could and get it as right, get it correct and get it processed as quickly as possible, or that small business might not get $100,000 PPP loan, or call it a $5,000. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
whatever they qualified, whatever they needed, they may not get it because you went to bed at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
right?
that's and everybody in the entire industry is carrying this weight
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah, everywhere.
And you got people depending on you,
Working remote
and
and
so
doing it.
And it's on systems, many of them that they didn't have remotely operating systems when the pandemic started, and so it's just like so many challenges stacked up on top of each other.
Right.
And yet you're not competing really with those. Everybody's just trying to get that money out there.
No one's competing against another bank in that scenario, right? Like you're just trying to get the money
PPP
out
loan.
to the small business.
Yeah.
You just want to get your small business, the funds.
Yeah, it's remarkable that we don't look a little older than we look. But who could tell with the masks and the hats,
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe
If we would
just
have kept
keep
our
these.
ski goggles on, no one would have a clue.
That's right. We've all had to grow, I feel like in different ways. What are the things or the thing that you will take away from this year? And that
The
will
last
make,
12 months, maybe? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of the last 12 months, like what are the things that you'll take and then that it will make things different moving forward in the way that you work, the way that you live? I mean, what are the things that you'll take forward for, in a positive way from the challenge of
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are a lot of positive things that have come out of the last 12 or 13 or however many months it's going to end up being, right?
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of people have died because of COVID, and that's it'd be hard to not mention. Like there's been a lot of and from an emotional standpoint and mental health, I think a lot of people have struggled with that as well. So in Utah, we have the pandemic that hits, and then we have a pretty significant earthquake that hits. When we don't have toilet paper at Costco anymore, right? It's like so everyone was on edge, and it was like it really felt like it was the end. Like it was the end.
Everybody's looking at the skies, going, "Okay, it must be over." Right?
Yeah, and then you go ahead and we've got the Black Lives Matter movement, which was obviously a pretty significant thing in a lot of cities. It was a big deal here. I didn't march. It's kind of hard to get involved with that when you're white. So like that was kind of a difficult deal as well. Like definitely support that. And then we have the Asian shootings in Atlanta, which is super sad. So like, I mean, there's just been a lot of
Yeah.
unsettled social in this country, I would say. And then you toss an election in there as
Yeah.
well. So like,
In
I
this
mean,
particular election,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I think from a society, if we didn't grow, we didn't do it right, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think for me, I think taking time to listen to people is huge. Understanding people, understanding cultures. That's been, I would say that's maybe, there's been a lot of pain that's had to have happened, but like if we can step back and take time to listen to people and understand people, I think that's huge. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Is that acronym or that phrase, don't ever waste a crisis kind of thing.
yeah, right,
And so we've
right,
had
right.
plenty
Yeah, and it
to,
sucks that what's happened has happened, right? But like if you learn from it, maybe it's better.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yep,
Well, we would all do well
yeah,
to really put some thought. Well, I think just the idea of listening to people is folks have stories
yeah,
that bear not just them telling, but people really really listening, really hearing.
hmm,
And I think I don't know how you empathize if you can't listen.
right. Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think just standing up for people that maybe don't have a voice or that aren't being heard, right, is important as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's a good way to end our time, and I really appreciate you spending some time. I appreciate you helping me down the mountain today. Yeah, yeah.
that
Perhaps
was
if
fun.
yeah,
That was
that
fun.
was a lot of fun. My kids are gonna. I joked, yeah, my kids are gonna enjoy this episode of the SBA Roadshow. I think more than any other, just because watching Dad tumble head over heels down the mountain is gonna have a certain comedic
Yeah, no,
desirability for
it
my
definitely will.
kiddos.
It definitely
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
Well, man, hey, thank you for hanging out.
Oh,
I
sweet.
want you to have an SBA Roadshow T-shirt, and every time you put this on, I want you to remember me like a rag doll rolling down the hill.
I definitely will.
and have a little chuckle for me.
I definitely will.
And this has been a lot of fun. I've had a great
Yeah.
day, and I really appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Yeah. Nice to see you too.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Okay.
I like the skiing backwards.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly call that skiing backwards. It was more like falling backwards while wearing skis. Oh man.
Subscribe to our newsletter at sbaroadshow.com/subscribe to see where we'll be next.